Hello, welcome back. I thought I'd start this week with a bit of a recap on what I'm working on and maybe why and what I hope to do next with it. So the place I work at, we do it's like an internal podcast. It's actually a Zoom recording, but the principle's the same. And we get some engineers together and we pick a topic and we talk about that topic. And then we share the recording with the rest of the company for other engineers to watch and comment on or just ignore or whatever they want to do. And it started with just 3 people doing it, but then we expanded it out. So we have a sort of a larger group of people that take part in it. But each episode, we only want a few people because it helps the conversation go. So about a year ago, I wrote a little tool in Haskell. Doesn't do very much. All it really does is it selects a list of people to take part. So one person is a host and some other people as participants. And it does that by just grabbing a list of data from a file, and I maintain the file by hand. So if somebody wanted to take part or leave, I just go and update that file. So as part of this live streaming, I've taken that tool and started to expand it a bit, make it more useful. I started off by adding commands to add people to the file and remove them, so I wasn't doing it by hand. And then I added something to add topics, list of upcoming potential topics as well. And because this is live streaming of learning Haskell, I haven't always taken the most straightforward product route. I do want to build a more useful tool, but the main driver here is to learn more Haskell. So I've spent some recent weeks looking at using type classes to abstract away the storage layer so that I can swap it out for tests. And this week, though, I want to go back to the original purpose of the tool, which is planning episodes of a podcast, effectively. So if we take a look at the tool, the way it originally worked, you run it and it picks out a host and some participants. And these now come from a file that's managed through some subcommands, but originally it was managed by hand. Actually, when I do this for real, these are Slack handles, so I can just copy and paste this and drop it into Slack. That's kind of cool, but that's all it really does. It doesn't do much on planning upcoming episodes. So, for example, if Bippy was unavailable, I need to pick someone to replace them, and there's no way of doing that. What I do in practice is run the command again and then pick the first participant that's not Bippy. So there's that aspect. What I'd really like to do is plan an upcoming episode. And what it can do is it can pick the people, and then I can say replace Bippy, and it can find somebody new for me. I'd also like it to keep track of some suggested topics. So when it prints this out, I'd like it to suggest a couple of topics underneath. I guess maybe I'd like it to track the time. It's a little bit more complicated, actually, because it's always difficult to schedule these things. But maybe I'd like some concept of the episode has finished and it's time to plan another one. So those are the things I want to start looking at today. And I think the first thing I want to do is add a new little command for, instead of just picking a list of people, for actually creating and storing an upcoming episode. Okay, so we go into main. We have our list of commands somewhere. Yeah, this is like the top level list of commands. So we got host, participants, and topics. I'm just going to add a new thing called episodes. Episodes, yeah, they're pluralized above. So it'll be episodes, and it'll be something underneath, some kind of subcommands. And I'm going to go to episode commands. Episode commands. Run subcommands. It'll be the same format as before. So I need to create episode commands. So I'm going to go, first of all, let's create that. So in source, we have folders for these things. So I'm going to create one called episodes. Do we have one called topics? Yeah, we do. So criminal episodes. And we will call this commands. And we give it a second. Yep, there we go. Okay, and then I'll go to my eval file and I will add it into the library section. It's annoyed me now. Momentarily annoyed by the fact these are not alphabetical. It's going to take me too long to fix. It's not worth it. Okay. Episodes dot commands. I'm gonna need storage and command it like episodes themselves as a concept. But I can start with the commands file. And let me just actually open the other commands file. So open up from cast. And it'll be called run episodes, and it'll look a little bit like this. So we need to make all of this work, and we are only going to export run episodes. Okay, cool. So this will be episodes. Okay. So the subcommands I want to support are, let me just fix these. So import that and import this. Okay, we don't have a storage module yet, so these will be broken. The commands I want to support are new, I think. So this will create a new episode for me. And then I think we want to replace, and it's going to be old name with new name. And actually, maybe put them back in and, oops, new name. I'll put another command in place, which will be show. So we can show the current episode that's being planned. I think that's the kind of thing I want to end up with. Okay, so we need a storage module. And that's going to, in fact, we'll probably need to expand our, no, this is the storage module that knows about episodes. The underlying storage doesn't know anything. So we should be okay. So if we go to another storage, like cast, for example, we're going to have things like, just want to copy something simple. Let me go to topics. Okay. So add remove and list. So I will just grab this and call it new. So we call this thing new. So we can call episode storage.new. And again, oops, we'll import that. And we will import this as well. Okay, and I'll just export new for a moment. Right, so we won't give it a topic. In fact, we won't give it any arguments at all, I don't think. When you say new, it'll just create a new episode. So we are going to say, we have this idea of adding things and removing things, and for an episode, I think I just want one, I don't know. Yeah, in the file, we just have the upcoming episode. It wouldn't have a list of all episodes. So you're not really adding and removing in the same sense. So let's not implement anything yet. Just going to comment those out because they might be useful later. Couldn't match that. What's the type it's looking for? Couldn't match that with reader T IO unit. It's not pure unit though, is it? That wouldn't make any sense. Can just be unit. No. What's the type it's returning? Oh, sorry, hang on. Show unit is totally fine. It's because I said it still takes a string and it doesn't. Right. Okay, it's going to need to take some representation of the episode in here. Let me just go back to my commands. So these ones I will comment out for a second. But new on its own, just be storage dot new. And it doesn't take a name at the moment. Okay, and then we can say import episode storage. We can say qualified episode storage as storage. Okay, so it should do nothing, I think. Back to my shell. I should be able to say episodes new. And it does not build. Because I didn't add it to a file. Okay. Episodes.storage. While it's processing, I'll just run it. Okay, I didn't import it into main. So go back to main, and HLS should have picked that up. Let me restart LSP. It's this annoying thing where I don't seem to be able to run LSP in main and then switch to the library or the tests and then switch back again without restarting it. In fact, that seems to have not started. Okay, let's fix it by hand because it's quite simple. So it's going to be import. It's going to be like topics basically, if I can find that. Or qualified episodes commands as episode commands. This format is not going to work now because everything is broken. Stop the LSP server. Save the file. Start the LSP server. See if it works. Why is the thing redundant? Variable out scope. Oh, because I didn't write run in it. This can just be called run. Okay. Okay, if we go back to there, go to the end and delete. And now it works, I think. It's not the command I meant to run. So we just run. Oh, let's not do it that way. I have another shell open here. Okay, it does nothing, which is kind of what I expected. So when we run the new, what I want to do is pick a cast and then set that up in some kind of object and then store that in the file. But first of all, I want to truncate whatever's in that existing file. So I might need to add something to my storage layer. It might be a bit of a pain, but we'll see. So let's call this run new, it's going to be the same type signature, I think. So we're going to take some kind of storage. We'll need to take some kind of storage. No, let's do that. Okay, we'll take some kind of storage. I was just thinking ahead a little bit. I was thinking I'd like the cast picking to not care about storage, and then the storage thing to not care about cast picking. But run new can just call those two things as separate functions. But at its top level, we need to know about everything. Run new is not going to take a list of strings. Sorry, take it back. It's just going to run their app. Okay, so run new. So I want something like pick cast. And then take the result of picking the cast, which should be the cast. And then storage.new. So now we'll need to take some kind of argument, which will be the cast that we've picked. Right. So pick cast. Doesn't need to know about storage. It's just going to run under app. And it's not going to return unit, it's going to return a cast. I think this is already a thing. Let's find out. So do we have a cast thing here, which consists of a host and some participants. Okay, so picking the cast is going to be, I have code for this somewhere. I think it's currently in main. It's this stuff. So we won't print it out. I'm just going to copy it into place here for now, and then I'll come back and look at refactoring stuff if need be. So cast is not in scope, we can fix that. We can import it. Okay, so we're going to get a participant count. I guess that's important. We're going to get our random number generator. Load cast. Okay, so load cast I think comes from cast storage. Yeah, this is cast storage. And that will return to me all the hosts and all the participants. Okay. So this should be something like cast storage. Load cast. Then we take a random host. Then what does it do? It joins the hosts. Where did the hosts come from? There's loads from here, okay. Get host. Right, okay. So what this is doing is list of hosts that comes back from here. It's basically dropping the host prefix and turning it back into text. So if the host is Bippy, it'll come back with the constructor. So it'll say host and then Bippy, where Bippy is some piece of text. Get host. We'll turn it back into that. And then get participant. We'll do the same thing for participants. So that was just a list of texts. Okay. Then we turn them back into participants. So everyone becomes a participant, because why not? Then you pick the participants by grabbing count number of people off that list. Okay, I guess it works, even if it's not particularly clear. And then the last thing to do is return cast of host and participants. Okay, I need to import cast properly. So I need a constructor, basically, is what it's saying. Okay, so much stuff is not in scope. This is run new. Right. Asks participant count. So asks will come from reader, control monad, don't want a trans reader asks. I think I just want, oh, it might be in there. Transformers, I don't know. Oops, I can find out by going to main, asking it. Control monad trans reader. Okay, take it back. Participant count comes from application, from appenv. I think we need that. Let's find out. This will come from random number generator, which I don't have set up. I don't think. Yep, it's not in the build depends for the library. So let's go and grab it from here. Give it a couple of seconds. Okay, now I can add it to system random. Cast storage. I want to import it qualified. Qualified cast storage as cast storage. Okay, take random. I need to define or import. No, I need to define it. Okay, get host will come from cast. Get participant will come from cast. The constructor for participant will come from cast as well. So I actually want to import all of it. Take random again is missing. And this should be pure. That. Okay, so take random is missing and this storage class doesn't expect an argument yet. So take random. Yeah, I'm just going to copy out of here and we can come back to it later. Right, okay. So take random is designed to take stuff out of a list. So you give it a list. Here we have explicit list of A. It should really be a foldable, but given some random number generator, the number of things you want to take, some list of things, it returns a sub list of randomly selected members. And it does that by generating an infinite list or unbounded list of infinite digits, I guess, random numbers, joining them up to the elements in the list you pass in. So if the list you pass in is something like A, B, C, and D, then we generate another list which is random numbers. So it could be like 15, 82, 4, 9, let's say. So you end up with these two lists, then we zip them together. So we end up with pairs like A15, and then B82, and then C4. Oh, explosive, nice. And then another one which is D9. Oops. So you get that list of tuples. Then the sort on second is saying take the second element in each tuple, so 15, 82, 4, and 9, and use that to sort this list. So you get a new list, but sorted by the second element. So these will go to the end. Oops. So you know, with that list, and now we just want these values back. So this is what mapping first over it will do. So when you map first over it, you get a new list, which is C, D, A, and B. And then finally, we take n elements out of this. So we say I want two things, it'll take the first two elements, and then you get C and D. That's what take random is doing. Okay, that to work, I need to import the random generator, which comes from system random. Sort on hopefully is somewhere. Data list sort on. Unfolder comes from somewhere. Don't know which one I'm using. Data list probably. And uniform should come from random. Okay, so we can pick a cast now just by copying some code that I've previously written. So storage.new for episodes. This now needs to take a cast and return it takes a cast and it does something with it. Sorry, produces some kind of effect. So we'll import that. Okay, and what we want to do with it is, well, two things. One is we want to truncate the file, which I don't have yet, and then I want to store the new cast into there. So we have this idea of things being marshalable and unmarshalable, or serializable and unserializable. Okay, so we can start to fix this up. So asks comes from reader, storage comes from append, lift.io comes from control monad, lift.io, control monad, IO class. Yes, that's the one. Right, now we're not storing a topic. We're given the cast and we store that. And now it's complaining, which is the one I want actually, which is cast does not implement the storable interface. So we'll need to add that. We're not going to store as a topic. I'm just going to jump to this definition. So we can store an episode. Ooh, we don't want to store the cast actually, we want to store an episode. That's a good point. So it's not the cast that we're interested in, not just the cast, it's actually the whole episode. Because the episode might also include some topics. Right, so I need to define this somehow. And this. And this. And then this should not be s.topic, it should be s.episode. Okay. Oops, what happened there? Let's go. Okay, now I need to define episode. Alright, and then we will go to, let's go to cast for a second, have a look at how this works. So we need Marshall and unmarshal. Those are the two things I have. So from here we will export episode when I write it. Right, we're not going to have any type participant. Well, let's call this episode. That bit I do know. We're not going to have get participant. We're going to have get episode. And it won't be of type text. Actually, let's call this get cast. Which will be of type cast. Yeah, that works. So we create an episode based on a cast. Okay, so to marshal it, we will do something. What will we do? What's the easiest thing I could do? So we have a host and some participants. We can just write them out on subsequent lines. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So import that for a second. I'm going to pull in storable. Oops. Okay. So, in order to marshal it, hang on, no instance for EQ cast. Oh, it's really annoying. Don't derive anything here. Deriving stock, EQ and show. So we have a host and participants in there. EQ and show. We want to export everything from episode so we can actually construct it as well. Right, so we don't get a participant, but what I will do is marshal episode, which will take an episode. And what's the thing? It needs to go from an episode to text. Okay, so marshal episode. What we can do is we can say t.onlines, and then we will say, oops, let's assign this to variable e, t.onlines of e.host, oh goodness, sorry, this we need to destructure this. So we'll have episode and then some kind of cast. So onlines cast.host. Let me get rid of the errors so that it stops. Gives me some assistance with writing this. Import that. And we will import qualified data.text as t. Okay, so now we should be able to write cast.cast host. And we want to join that onto cast.get cast.cast participants. So now instead of this, we can call Marshall episode. Okay. So I think that works. We'll see. And then to unmarshal it, what we want to do. So T is a string. Oh, T is text. Sorry, but close enough. So unmarshal episode. Then we go from the other I think it's text to episode. And unmarshal episodes. Given some text T, what are we going to do here? So we, actually not sure I need a let here. Sorry, I'm not sure we need a do. So lines is going to be t.lines of the text that we were given. And given that, actually, let me just break this up a bit. So that's lines, and then we can say that the host is, can we say this? So host and participants is going to be, do we have break or break out or split out or something? So if we have a list of things, let's say we end up with multiple lines. So in this case we call it T, I think. It's going to be, let's imagine we split up into lines. So I call this lines. And it's going to have line 1, and then line 2, and then line 3. This is my unfamiliarity with the Haskell library. Okay, I can't call it lines. Let's call it T for a second. And then we should be able to say import data.list, and then is there something called breakout or split out? I can't remember. What's the type of break? Nope. Split out. Int list of A's and the pairs. Okay, so we should be able to say split at 1, I think, T. Oh, for goodness sake. Text. Reload. Okay. Now she'll say split 1T. The error before was the overloaded strings. I didn't know what type of strings these were. Are they normal strings? Are they text? Or are they something else? So I just told the interpreter what they are. Okay, this gives us back 2 lists. The first one contains the host, and the second one contains the participants. Right, so host participants will be split at, this will be hosts, because of the way split works, split at 1 lines. Okay, so we have our list of hosts and we have our list of participants. So can we call head, or is that not safe? Let's find out. We're going to return. Oh, we did another thing. Okay, we have a list of hosts and participants, but we need now to create our cast as well. So we're going to return episode, but it's going to take a cast And the cast is going to take the host, which is the head of hosts, and then participants, which means I now need to import the constructor for cast. Okay, this is text. So when we get our lines back, this will be text. We need to convert this back into a host, and this we need to convert back into participants. So this is actually going to be host lines, and this is going to be participant lines. So another thing we're going to set up as hosts is the mapping of host over our host lines, and participants is going to be the mapping of participant over participant lines. Participant over participant lines. A lot of red and orange going on. I'm just going to call this T's. Okay, and then we should be able to import host and participant. Okay, and in this we can say on Marshall episode right, I got the type wrong. It goes to maybe episode. And this is because in the cast file, so the hosts and participants, each line might be a host or a participant, we don't know. So we conditionally unmarshal it, and then it gets, it rejects all the nothings basically. Okay. So now I have a problem with this in that these are type host and participant, and we turn them into text. So we have a look in here. It's a bit of a mess, but we could actually marshal and unmarshal these things because we know to implement this interface. Maybe I could do that. Just use marshal and unmarshal. The other thing is to call get host and get participant. So we could say get host of that, and then we'd have to map get participant. Participant over that. But rather than using get host and get participant, I want to just call marshal. I like the L's, apparently. Okay. Okay, so now I can create an episode. And I think I can create an episode, and I can marshal it by turning it into some lines, where the first line is the host and subsequent lines are the participants, and then unmarshalling it by getting all the lines out of the file, taking the first thing off. Oh, see, now this is interesting. Because I've marshaled this, it actually comes through with the word host at the beginning. So we don't actually want to assume the first thing is a host and then put, because I've marshaled it here, it'll start with the word host, so we're going to get host Betty, which is not what I want. So what we actually want to do is find we want to find the first host, and then we want to find all of the participants. So the way that unmarshal works, let's do this differently. We can say host, is actually a maybe host, is equal to, we should be able to call find, what is it called, find maybe? What we want to do is find the first thing where unmarshal works. Okay, Google. We have a function which goes from some A to maybe B. And we have a list of A's, and we want to get back a single B. And it's called first just in extra. And we don't have anything not in extra, I don't think. Fold map M is saying that kind of works actually, because what we actually are going to get back is maybe B. No guarantee it's going to find something. So fold map M would do it. I think. Why does BS be a monoid? It doesn't matter actually, because it'll work anyway, but text it will be a monoid. I just don't really understand why it has to be. I wonder what the fold is doing. I don't want to fold anything, I just want to find the first. Okay, so it's going to be first just an extra, but I don't have extra. I'm not sure I want to add it just for this. So I'm going to call it first just of unmarshal. Oh, this gets really complicated because unmarshal is from a type class, so the unmarshal is going to call will depend on the types getting back. But anyway, host will be first just unmarshal, and it needs lines. So we can say let t's equal t dot lines of t, and here we can say let host equal that, and then we're going to say let participants is cat maybes of applying unmarshal to t's, and then it's no longer the head of hosts, but it's just going to be host. And the trouble with that is it's going to be a maybe type, so we'll have to deal with that. Right. So what's it saying here? Use map maybe. Okay, find out what I want. Map maybe comes from here. First, just I need to actually create that. Okay, because I'm using host and participant here, it can work out the type, but it won't be able to work it out here because this comes back as a maybe. So I can say let just host equal that, but that's not safe because it might explode at runtime. So it's not going to let me do that. I guess it's like case host of just h is what is that? And nothing is nothing, and there's a helper for writing that. I'll go and find it later. Okay, so we got a hole here. In fact, what have we got? We got first just is gonna take foldable A, foldable F, is that enough? Let's try this. So we're going to go from A to maybe B, F of A to B, and the first just we can say is going to be, what do we do? So we want to map, we got some function, and we have a list of x's, and we want to apply f to x's. So we have a list of maybe a's, and we want to say, I guess, if this comes back as being empty, oh, so it should be maybe B, it returns. Say if it's empty, return nothing, that's okay. And otherwise, given some x's, before, given some y's, what do we do with this? We want to, it's not even that, okay. So we apply this to x's, but then we want the cat maybes of that. And if cat maybes comes back as empty, then return nothing. Otherwise, it returns some list so something with something in a list, we return just that thing. Anything else becomes nothing. Okay, couldn't much type of F with list. So I don't think I want. Oh, map maybe is explicitly just a list. It's not a foldable. Okay, we can fix that. So we can say given a list of A's. Okay, so to unmarshal the episodes, we get our host back, get our participants back. If we get a host, then we return the list of we return an episode containing a cast containing that host and the participants we found. And if we don't have a host, we return nothing. We assume it hasn't worked. Right. Imports. Okay, yeah, because we're using our Marshall now, we're not directly creating hosts or participants. Okay, so that actually gives us a cast which is somehow marshallable and unmarshallable. So we go back to commands. We can pick our cast and we can pass in storage, and in storage, give it some episode. That's where we left off, wasn't it? So we now let's import that. Okay, we have an episode. We get the underlying storage layer, and we add the episode to that file, or to that storage thing. Tell it's an episode, we give it the episode, and we give it storage. Then we don't return anything else. Okay. So, go back to main, should be broken now because, it's not going to tell me why, but essentially this make file storage is going to be broken. I think. So the file storage here, we need to give it an episodes file, which is going to be file path. Let that remove is okay. In here we want episodes file is the directory joined to episodes. Directory. Okay. We need to create that if it's missing. Episode, oops, lowercase. Episodes file. Too long now. Okay, so create our directory. We set up our episodes file, we create it, and then down here we need to say s.episodes, and it's going to be pure nothing for now. Oops, given the file system as well. So let's just implement it. So load file fs.episodes file, and adding it is going to be the same thing, I guess. So s.episode, I'm just going to use the episodes file. And removing from it is obviously going to be very similar. So it's going to be episode, remove file, episodes file. And that should be it for this one. Our test is going to be very broken. So maybe it was in here. Yeah, I think HLS was started in the library, so it won't work for tests or for main. So I'm just going to grab, oops. Oh, did I close my terminal? No, it's here running compile. Okay. Let's get a list of errors, see what's going wrong and where. Right, Cabal file itself is wrong. Episode. I'll restart. So if I jump into main, will it give me some errors? No, completely broken. Okay. Couldn't match type episode with cast, expected cast. I got my types wrong. So in here, that takes episode, and in the commands, I'm returning cast here. So this should return an episode. It shouldn't be called pick cast. I don't think it should be. Well, cast feels right. You're picking a cast at this point. You might do some more stuff. Oops. We can also write any function called create episode. In fact, it's not worth creating a function for this because it doesn't do very much. Let me just inline it here. So we can say cast comes from pick cast. And then we will say storage.new of episodes cast. And we'll import this. Okay. Now what's this error about? So no instance for storage. Yeah. Okay, so pickcast currently does need to access the storage layer because it uses that to find the cast. I wonder if I could somehow, I don't know. Let's not worry about it. Okay, so that should now work. Try building it again. Oh, it built. Okay, so where is it? Brings up showtime data. So I say episode new. Create something. That, and then episodes. There we go. It picked a cast and put it in there, which is cool. Okay, some progress maybe. So if we get to write show, I'll pick that up next week, I think. So we've created a new cast. It doesn't clear out the old file, the old content yet. So I need to write something to do with deleting everything in the file. Yeah, and it doesn't show you who the cast is. That's a problem as well. So I need to write show, and then I can run show at the end of new as well. So it tells you what it's done. And then when that's in place, I can start to look at replacement as well. Cool. Okay. So thanks for watching along. Yeah, next week we'll just continue on with the subcommands for managing episodes. Cool. Hopefully see you then. Goodbye.